Welcome to my channel StarWire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. The fashion world stopped spinning for just a moment last week. Not because of a runway catastrophe or a designer meltdown, but because of three simple words whispered by someone who knows Brooks Nader better than anyone else on this planet. Her own sister. Grace and Nader just dropped the bombshell that has everyone from the Upper East Side to Wimbledon absolutely losing their minds. Brooks Nader, the stunning Sports Illustrated model who's graced more magazine covers than most people have hot dinners, is reportedly dating tennis superstar Carlos Alcaraz. And honey, when I tell you this revelation has sent shockwaves through two completely different worlds, I mean it literally broke the internet faster than you can say love 40. But here's the thing that's got everyone talking. This isn't just another celebrity fling that'll fizzle out by next Tuesday. This is potentially one of the most unexpected, yet somehow perfectly orchestrated love stories we've witnessed in years. And Grace-Ann? Well, she just confirmed what millions of us have been suspiciously wondering about for months. Let me paint you a picture of how we got here, because this story is so much juicier than anyone initially realized. Brooks Nader isn't just any model walking around Manhattan with perfect bone structure and an Instagram following that could populate a small country. She's the Louisiana-born beauty who transformed herself from a small-town girl into one of the most recognizable faces in fashion. We're talking about a woman who went from studying finance to becoming the face of Sports Illustrated, gracing their swimsuit edition not once, but multiple times. And Carlos Alcaraz? This isn't some flash-in-the-pan athlete looking for his 15 minutes of fame. At just 21 years old, this Spanish tennis sensation has already claimed multiple Grand Slam titles and currently sits at the top of the tennis world rankings. We're talking about a young man who moves on the court like poetry in motion, with a backhand that could make grown tennis commentators weep actual tears. Now, you might be wondering how these two worlds even collided. Fashion and tennis aren't exactly known for their frequent crossovers, unless you count those rare moments when tennis players show up at the Met Gala looking slightly uncomfortable in their designer suits. But this connection? It's been brewing in plain sight, and apparently, we've all been too distracted by the obvious to notice the subtle. The first whispers started circulating about 3 months ago. Brooks had been spotted at several high-profile tennis matches, which initially seemed random. I mean, sure, celebrities attend sporting events all the time, but there was something different about Brooks's presence at these particular matches. She wasn't sitting in the generic celebrity boxes, taking selfies and barely paying attention to the actual game. She was engaged, courtside, following every serve, every rally, with the intensity of someone who genuinely understood and cared about what was happening. But here's where it gets interesting. Sources close to both camps started noticing a pattern. Every tournament Carlos played in the United States, Brooks somehow managed to clear her incredibly packed schedule to attend. And we're talking about a woman whose calendar is typically booked solid with photo shoots, fashion weeks, and brand partnerships that could fund a small nation's economy. The tennis world started buzzing first. Players, coaches, and sports journalists began whispering about the stunning brunette who seemed to bring Carlos an extra spark on the court. His performance during matches where Brooks was present? Let's just say his already impressive statistics got even more impressive. Coincidence? The romantic in me says absolutely not. Then came the subtle social media breadcrumbs. Now, both Brooks and Carlos are incredibly strategic about their online presence. These aren't influencers posting every meal and random thought that crosses their minds. But if you knew where to look, and trust me, dedicated fans always know where to look, the signs were there. Instagram stories that disappeared within 24 hours but showed suspiciously similar backgrounds. Brooks posting from what appeared to be a tennis facility in Spain during a time when Carlos was training there. Carlos sharing a story from New York during Fashion Week, when Brooks was walking from multiple designers. Tiny glimpses that meant nothing individually but painted a fascinating picture when connected. The fashion industry, meanwhile, was having its own quiet conversations. Stylists, photographers, and designers who work closely with Brooks started noticing changes. Not dramatic, obvious changes, but the subtle shifts that happen when someone falls into something real. She had this glow, this energy that photographers dream of capturing. There's a difference between someone who's merely beautiful and someone who's beautiful and genuinely happy. Brooks was radiating the latter. Her sister Grace, and who's been Brooks's closest confidant throughout her entire career transformation, was apparently the keeper of this particular secret. And let me tell you, Grace is not someone who spills family tea lightly. She's fiercely protective of Brooks, having watched her navigate the sometimes brutal world of high fashion modeling with grace and determination. But last week, during what was supposed to be a casual interview about Brooks's upcoming projects, Grace let something slip. The interviewer, thinking they were just making small talk, mentioned how happy and glowing Brooks looked in her recent photos. Grace, and perhaps caught off guard by the genuine observation, smiled and said something along the lines of, "Well, when you're with someone who makes you laugh every day and challenges you to be better, it shows." The interviewer, clearly sensing something bigger, gently pressed for more details. That's when Grace, and with the pride of a sister who's genuinely excited for her siblings' happiness, mentioned Carlos by name, not in a gossipy, attention-seeking way, but with the warm affection of someone sharing genuinely happy news about someone they love. The reaction was immediate and explosive. Within hours, the internet was dissecting every possible connection between Brooks and Carlos. Tennis forums were analyzing Carlos's recent interviews for any mentions of someone special. Fashion blogs were examining Brooks's travel patterns with the precision of international intelligence agencies. But here's what makes this story so compelling beyond the obvious celebrity intrigue. Both Brooks and Carlos are at absolutely fascinating points in their respective careers. Brooks has transcended typical modeling to become a genuine business mogul, with investments and partnerships that extend far beyond looking stunning in photographs. She's built an empire based not just on her beauty, but on her intelligence, business acumen, and authentic connection with her audience. Carlos, meanwhile, is navigating the pressures of being considered the future of tennis while still being barely old enough to rent a car in some states. The weight of expectations, the constant travel, the physical and mental demands of professional tennis at the highest level is a lifestyle that would crush most people. What's beautiful about their connection, based on what those close to both camps are whispering, is how they seem to ground each other. Brooks brings Carlos a sense of normalcy and perspective that's incredibly rare in the world of professional sports. She understands pressure, media attention, and the challenge of performing at the highest level while maintaining your authentic self. Carlos, meanwhile, brings Brooks something that's perhaps even more valuable. Someone who achieved massive success without being part of the fashion or entertainment industry ecosystem that's been her entire adult life. He represents a completely different way of approaching ambition, success, and public scrutiny. The sports world is fascinated by this development for reasons that go beyond simple celebrity gossip. Tennis, unlike many other professional sports, has a long history of players finding love and support with partners from completely different industries. Think about it. Serena Williams and Alexis Ohanian, Roger Federer and Mirka Vavrinek, Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf. Some of tennis's greatest love stories have involved this kind of cross-industry connection. What makes Brooks and Carlos particularly intriguing is the timing. Carlos is at the absolute peak of his physical abilities and competitive drive. This is the time when most young male athletes are advised to avoid serious relationships, to focus entirely on their sport. But those close to Carlos suggest that Brooks's presence in his life has actually enhanced his focus rather than distracted from it. The fashion world, meanwhile, is equally captivated but for different reasons. Brooks has always been incredibly selective about her personal life, keeping relationships private and maintaining an almost mysterious quality that's made her even more intriguing to fans and industry insiders alike. For her to be in something serious enough for Grace, and to confirm publicly, that's significant. Industry insiders are also fascinated by the potential crossover appeal. Imagine the possibilities. Carlos attending major fashion events, Brooks becoming a fixture at major tennis tournaments. We're talking about two incredibly photogenic, successful young people who could potentially become one of those power couples that transcends their individual industries. But let's talk about what this means for both of their careers, because that's where this story gets really interesting. Brooks has built her brand on being aspirational but accessible, glamorous but relatable. A relationship with Carlos actually enhances that brand in fascinating ways. Tennis, especially at Carlos's level, represents dedication, athleticism, and global appeal. It's sophisticated without being pretentious, competitive without being cutthroat. For Carlos, being connected to Brooks introduces him to audiences who might never have paid attention to tennis otherwise. We're talking about millions of fashion and lifestyle enthusiasts who are suddenly going to be tuning into tennis matches, learning about the sport, and becoming invested in Carlos's success. The early reactions from fans have been overwhelmingly positive, which is honestly refreshing in a world where celebrity relationships are often met with skepticism or criticism. Tennis fans seem genuinely excited about the possibility of Brooks bringing additional attention and glamour to their sport. Fashion enthusiasts are thrilled about Brooks's apparent happiness and the potential for amazing couples content. Social media has been absolutely buzzing with support, speculation, and excitement. Fan accounts dedicated to both Brooks and Carlos have seen massive increases in followers. People are creating elaborate timelines of their potential relationship, analyzing body language and photos, and genuinely celebrating what appears to be a beautiful connection between two incredible people. What I find most touching about this whole situation is Grace's role in confirming the relationship. This wasn't a publicist's calculated announcement or a strategic media leak. This was a sister who's genuinely excited about her siblings' happiness and couldn't help but share that joy, even inadvertently. Grace has been there through Brooks's entire journey. From their childhood in Louisiana to Brooks's early modeling days when rejection was more common than acceptance, through the breakthrough moments and the incredible success that followed. For Grace, and to be excited enough about Carlos, to mention him by name speaks volumes about the quality of this relationship. The timeline of their relationship, as far as anyone can piece together, suggests this has been building slowly and naturally rather than being a whirlwind romance. The earliest possible connection dates back to about 8 months ago, when Brooks was spotted at a tennis clinic in New York that Carlos was hosting for young players. At the time, it seemed like just another celebrity making an appearance at a charitable event. But looking back, knowing what we know now, that clinic takes on entirely different significance. Brooks didn't just show up, take some photos, and leave. She stayed for the entire event, participated in activities, and seemed genuinely interested in learning about tennis. Several young players from that clinic have since posted throwback photos, and the interaction between Brooks and Carlos is, well, let's just say there's definitely chemistry visible even in those casual group shots. The real confirmation, beyond Grace and revelation, might actually be in the details that no one's talking about yet. Sources close to Carlos's training team have mentioned that he's been incorporating new elements into his fitness routine, things that look suspiciously like they might have been influenced by someone with extensive knowledge of model-level fitness and nutrition. Meanwhile, people in Brooks's inner circle have noticed her developing what can only be described as a genuine understanding and passion for tennis. We're not talking about casual interest or polite enthusiasm. Brooks has apparently been studying the sport with the same intensity she once brought to understanding the fashion industry. There's something incredibly romantic about two people at the absolute top of their respective fields, finding each other and bringing out new dimensions in one another. Brooks is discovering a love for athletics and competition that extends beyond her professional commitments. Carlos is being exposed to the worlds of fashion, art, and creative expression in ways that are clearly enriching his perspective. What makes this story even more compelling is how both of them have handled their careers with remarkable maturity and strategic thinking despite their young age. Brooks transformed herself from a finance student into a global fashion icon through pure determination and smart decision-making. Carlos has navigated the pressures of professional tennis while maintaining his authenticity and connection to his Spanish roots. These aren't impulsive people. They don't make major life decisions lightly. The fact that this relationship appears to be serious enough for family confirmation suggests they've both thought carefully about how this connection fits into their lives and careers. The international aspect of this relationship adds another fascinating layer. Carlos spends significant portions of a year traveling between Spain and various tournament locations worldwide. Brooks's career has her constantly moving between New York, Los Angeles, Paris, and Milan for fashion weeks, photo shoots, and brand commitments. On the surface, these schedules seem completely incompatible, but both of them are used to making relationships work across time zones and continents. They understand the discipline required to maintain important connections while pursuing demanding careers. In many ways, they're uniquely suited to understand and support each other's lifestyle demands. The fashion industry is already speculating about potential collaborations and appearances. Could we see Carlos at the Met Gala? Might Brooks become a regular fixture at major tennis tournaments? The possibilities for crossover content and appearances are endless and, frankly, incredibly exciting. Tennis fashion has always been a niche but passionate market. Having someone with Brooks's style expertise and industry connections potentially influencing that space could lead to some fascinating developments. Meanwhile, the athletic wear and lifestyle market that Brooks has been expanding into could benefit enormously from authentic tennis connections. But beyond the business implications and public fascination, what's really capturing people's attention is the apparent genuine happiness that both Brooks and Carlos seem to have found. In industries that can be incredibly demanding, isolating, and pressure-filled, finding someone who truly understands and supports your ambitions is rare and precious. Grayson's confirmation wasn't just about revealing a celebrity relationship. It was about sharing genuinely good news about someone she loves finding happiness with someone who apparently makes her laugh every day and challenges her to be better. In a world of strategic relationships and calculated connections, that kind of authentic joy is refreshing and beautiful. The coming months are going to be fascinating to watch. Will we see them make official public appearances together? How will they navigate the media attention and public interest? Will their relationship inspire new projects, collaborations, or creative directions for either of them? What's certain is that both Brooks and Carlos have built their careers on authenticity, hard work, and genuine talent. They're not people who need relationships for publicity or career advancement. If they're together, it's because they genuinely care about each other and believe this connection enhances their lives. The fact that Grayson felt comfortable and excited enough to confirm this relationship publicly suggests that Brooks has found something real and meaningful. And honestly, after watching Brooks navigate the fashion industry with such grace and determination, seeing her potentially find personal happiness with someone who shares her work ethic and ambition, that's the kind of celebrity news that actually makes you feel good about the world. So whether you're a tennis fan curious about Carlos's personal life, a fashion enthusiast excited about Brooks's happiness, or just someone who loves a good love story between two incredibly accomplished people, this development has something for everyone. The story is just beginning to unfold, and I have a feeling we're going to be talking about Brooks and Carlos for a very long time. What do you think about this unexpected but somehow perfect pairing? Are you Team Brooks and Carlos? Have you been following the subtle clues we missed along the way? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love hearing your perspectives on these developing stories. And if you enjoyed diving deep into this fascinating celebrity connection, make sure to subscribe because we're going to be following every development in this story as it continues to unfold. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next in this beautiful intersection of fashion and tennis. Until next time, keep watching the stars, because sometimes the best stories are the ones hiding in plain sight.